hand of the Lord was upon me. He brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley. He asked me, "Son of man, can these bones live?" I said, "O sovereign Lord, you alone know." Then he said to me, "Prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the voice of the Lord. I will make breath into you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord." So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I was prophesying, there was a noise, a rattling sound, and the bones came together, bone to bone. I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, "Prophesy to the breath, and say to it, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe into these slain, that they may live." So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath entered them. They came to life and stood up on their feet, a vast army.
Posting a link to a movie based on a book. Movie came out in 2018, book 2015. It appeared strongly that Kyrie was endorsing and promoting said movie and book.
Right.
And the movie is based on the book that Rolling Stone calls venomously anti-Semitic. Okay. Venomously. And cites, Rolling Stone does, statements within the movie that, quote, many famous high-ranking Jews have admitted to worshiping Satan or Lucifer. That the movie uncovers the true identity of the children of Israel by proving the true ethnicity of Abraham, Jacob, many others. Find out what Islam, Judaism, and Christianity have covered up for centuries in regards to the true biblical identity of the so-called Negro in this movie packed with tons of research.
So now what do I do when I'm witnessing to the black culture? I'm saying, your forefathers, now walk with me, don't miss this. Because 98% of everybody out there believes that their roots starts in Africa. So they call themselves black African Americans. And really what they should be talking themselves is they are what? The Hebrews and the Jews of the original temple of the city of David.
And by the way, I was there today when he met with Trump on the plane with him.
Get out of here.
We flew to Uganda, to Africa. I was there on the plane with him and Kim and his daughter and his dad.
Wow.
Flying to Uganda. We reading about how black people are the real Israelites and all this amazing history. I'm on the plane reading with him, giving him nutritional suggestions because my mom is a health guru. You know?
Shalom.
You know what?
Shalom.
L'chaim, nigga.
Yeah, Shalom.
Right,
Shalom, L'chaim, and all of that.
Yeah, all of that. Like,
Child on my shoulder.
Shalom. Oh, yeah,
you feel me?
Shalom. You feel me?
Right. Okay.
Feel
cool.
me? Okay, can I do that shit too? Because I want to be there.
Yes.
Shalom, nigga. Like,
There you go. There you go.
You see that?
How about, let me, I could go somewhere else with that. That's deep. I mean, you're a black man in America. 9 times out of 10, your whole, everything that they've been trying to keep from you is the fact that you are Hebrew.
Yeah.
What did Hitler,
Absolutely.
What did Hitler tell NATO when they was asking him why he was giving them hell? He said they left here black and came back white. They will never have peace here.
Absolutely.
When they asked the president of Egypt a few years ago about the discord that they was having over there and what was going on, he quoted the same shit. They left here black and came back white. They will never have peace here. What exactly does that mean? I mean, they keep trying to whitewash over shit in the Bible and all that. It's way deeper than that, but you know that. I have to go into a lot to really dig that up, but you know what I mean.
Y'all even crazy for even, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you gotta scratch the surface so people get.
My family tree, we connected.
People that fit what's in this book of who it says that the true house of Israel is, the lost tribes of Israel. They're lost, you know, they say they're scattered. We don't know who they are. I know who they are. It's
Who are
clear.
they?
It's you guys. It's
What do you mean by you guys?
the folks that were sent through the transatlantic slave trade, the folks that are still in the lands of their captivity. Israel is in the lands of their captivity. There is no creation of the so-called Jewish state of Israel in 1948. That does not fit prophecy. There's people over there that call themselves Jews. They call their own selves Ashkenazi. If you go look at Genesis chapter 10, 1 through 5, it tells you Ashkenaz is descended from Japheth, Noah's son Japheth, not Shem. That means he's a Gentile. I'm a Gentile. You know, we're Gentiles. And I mean, like, I wasn't brainwashed. I got the Bible before they do the brainwashing of the programming and try to make you think Egypt is white, which is ridiculous because it's Africa. So, you know, all that's Africa. So, you know, I'm thinking clearly because I'm reading, I know what's going on, you know. Okay, that Bible that's told me the truth about the fake Jews, in Revelation 2:9, Revelation 3:9, you know they run everything. I got to throw this in there. They run everything. The media, the entertainment industry, the banking, the world, pretty much. All the wars we fight is because they tell us to go kick ass. That's what America is. We are the Satan's military arm. And why I say Satan, Revelation 2:9, Revelation 3:9. I know those who say they are Jews, but do lie and are of the synagogue of Satan. We done read they Ashkenazi, they Japheth. I mean, it's clear. Okay, well, here's how I know that that's true. 1/3, because that's true, so the rest of it's true. You guys' story's in there, and it's all true. Lines up perfectly. It's all thing that makes any kind of sense. 1/3 of all nations will be left at the very, very end.
You said
And
of
1/3,
Israel, right?
1/3 of Israel. You guys are going to be on top, y'all.
I'm gonna make this video. I don't know if they're gonna delete it or not. I put it in a comment and it was deleted in a matter of seconds, so we'll see. What the comment is I was addressing the African American community to tell them the truth that I had found. I didn't know the truth, and a lot of white people cannot accept it because it truly does cut like a knife. It truly does cut. And I myself ran away from the truth and faced Yah's wrath for running away from that truth. And he brought me to my knees into repentance for what my ancestors have done and what they are doing today. I mean, to the point I was losing I was vomiting, and I'm not going to go in great detail, but I mean, he brought me to my knees and had me to the point that I was doing that, and in the middle of it, I'm apologizing him and thanking him at the same time. How's that real and that serious? Okay. Now, what my ancestors did 400 years ago, when they took your African ancestors into slavery, they rewrote your Bible. And in doing so, they changed your Messiah's name. And they are keeping the black man mentally enslaved to the white master, Jesus Christ. That is not your Messiah. That is not your king. The true king is the black Hebrew king Yahushua. And his father is Yahuwah. And his father's spirit is Ruach HaKodesh. That is the truth. They are keeping you enslaved through the mind now. Go seek what I said. I'm not saying it for you to accept or deny, but for you to go seek this. Because the African American is Judah.
The African American is Judah. The African American is Judah.
The African American is Judah. People who have watched me have heard me say it several times, but it is true. It is true. I mean, and it is true. If you don't love Yah's people, you don't love Yah. Because when you love Yah's people, the best way I can explain that love is very different from any love you know. It's like a flower that blooms in your heart that does not stop blooming. It continues to bloom. And that love that's blooming is for Yah and his people. It's very different. And for a Gentile, that is its own reward. It truly is. Now, this I'm going to say, and it's really going to offend white people, but you cannot trust most white people. I learned that myself. I cannot speak this around white people. They become very vicious. They step outside of scripture and they first come at you, accusing you with sins. Well, hello there, Satan. Well, hello there, Satan. He is the accuser. As though you have no sin? Please, you are the greatest sinners. Our ancestors are the greatest sinners. Our fathers today are the greatest sinners. I hope they don't delete this. I hope this gets out. Not many white people will accept this, and the ones that do know it are not going to tell you. Because they fear you, and they fear your Messiah and your king. Because when your king comes, you will become the kings and queens of the nations, and they don't want that. Well, our father sold Israel for bread. And that's the truth, and that's the fairness in it, period. So I'm not a thief. No. Or a killer, and it's unfortunate that runs through my blood, but the Messiah can cleanse anything, so I'm not going to try to dwell on that. I'm just going to keep on speaking his truth because it seems the more I speak it, the more he's cleaning me out. So I hope this awakens or leads somebody to the correct well to get the right drink. It is very quenching.
What's fascinating is, which I speak about, is the transatlantic slave trade. A large percentage of it actually came from Igbo territory. So these Igbo today in Nigeria, who are practicing Jews, numbering the 40 million people, with customs and traditions, doing circumcision on the 8th day, were the same exact people brought to the Americas on the transatlantic slave trade. Now, if someone goes to Times Square in New York today, you'll see African Americans dressed in Israelite outfits and yelling at people saying, "You're not the real Jews, we're the real Jews." And so most people saying, well, you guys are kooky, you just made this whole thing up, you made up a religion and an identity. Actually, no, they are the blood descendants, most likely, of the people who, from Israel, were brought from Africa to America. So it's very fascinating.
For how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also, a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. So what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts from Rome.
Across the globe. Last week I came to you and shared that black people in America, you are the biblical Israelites. You are the chosen people. You are with whom the Bible speaks of. You are from the seed of Yehoshua HaMashiach. Now, as for Gentiles, there's going to be many of you that feel like you've been lied to and you've been deceived. The best thing to do is to accept it because it's prophecy. And that comes from Jeremiah 16:19, which says, O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of the affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. It's okay. You've been lied to. Accept it. Gentiles, once you've accepted that you've been lied to, there's only one thing left to do, and that's Matthew 10:38. And he that taketh not his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. As a Gentile, your cross to bear is that you are a Gentile, you are not an Israelite, you are to share who the biblical Israelites are. They are black people.
verse, and it's not even on their conscience when they claim or when they perceive that the Bible is talking about them. Every time, at least in the New Testament, every time it talks about Israelites and their salvation and being brought back to the land, and also, heads up, all those Old Testament books and prophecies and prophets, most of those things haven't happened yet, and you won't even realize that unless you realize who Israelites really are. And hopefully you can get some knowledge and understanding from them, because who knows them better than themselves? And who can understand the Bible better than them? No one. Because for one, who was the Bible written by? Them. Who was it written for? Them. The Bible doesn't belong to all of us. It belongs to them. And who are they? They're the black people.
The fall of Jerusalem and the fort, and when Jews were scattered all over the world, we have to remember one thing I think is very important, that the white Jews that we see today have no bloodline connection with the Jews of the biblical period. They were converted to Judaism in Europe and in Russia. They were converted and have no bloodline connection with the black Jews who make up the biblical Israel that the Bible writes about and of which Jesus was a part.
Well, what happened to the black Jews?
The black Jews are still in existence. There are black Jews in America. There are black Jews all over Africa. There are black Jews in Palestine. There are black Jews everywhere. Diane's daughter complained not more than 2 years ago that black Jews had moved on either side of her house, and therefore her property had depreciated in Palestine. Black Jews had depreciated her property. Jews had moved directly from Palestine to India, and the community celebrated its 1900th anniversary or something, and they had white Jews who had emigrated from Europe and black Jews who had originally come from Jerusalem at the fall of Jerusalem, had an uninterrupted straight line of connection from the fall of Jerusalem to India. All over the world there are black Jews, but the Zionist Jews who had been converted to Judaism have taken over the control of the definition of what Judaism is, as white people do with anything. If they come into it, they take it over and define what it is, as you stated in your introductory statement. So we have to remember that white Jews, when you see them on the street, are not the Jews of the biblical period. And that sometimes confuses black people who ought to be black Christian nationalists.
Huge community in Africa that they know in tradition that they are Hebrews, that they are from child of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. They know it for sure. You have communities that are running services and prayers by the halakha, keeping Shabbat and eating kosher. They know their roots. Like, you can't argue with them. They're stronger than you. They will tell you who they are. They don't ask you even. And they have the Bible and it's all written over there, and they don't have no problems in life. Except of that we're not able to accept them, to recognize the godliness of the holy tribes that is treasured inside them, their souls. And you have the problem not recognizing your own brother and not understanding that there's a way to let him back in. Because we have today all the power to do that. We have all the sources, we have the land, we have everything we need. Except of the key to our hearts that is still missing.
Nowhere in the Torah, the Quran, or the Christian books do they mention the word Jew. It's Israelite. You know, Jew is just a misnomer, the pseudo name, you know, just a... And if you look at the journey of the Israelites, they were Africans. Egypt is in Africa. Right. So the people in Africa got broad noses, big lips, and, you know, much darker than I am. Israel is in Africa. If you look at Africa, Israel is right there, attached to Sinai. They call it the Middle East. I'm not going to get into that politics, but if you look at the map, which is in Africa, they're like connected.
I see what you're saying. It's not far-fetched that it's...
Not even far-fetched. It's literally attached.
Right.
Number one, we have the regal Negro nomadic class that are exiled from the kingdom of Judah. They are their own royal tribe in Africa. Number two, we have the native black African trackers. They're going to track them down. And number three, we have the Islamic trappers. Because between 650 of the Common Era and 1900 of the Common Era, 10 to 20 million people were enslaved by the Arab slave traders. Over 20 million enslaved Africans were delivered through the Trans-Sahara route to the Islamic world. Can you get your head around that? That's not even touching the Americas. Over 80 million more blacks died at the hands of Islam en route. And number 4, we have Ashkenazi Khazar Jewish ship merchants. And of course, the Portuguese and the British Ashkenazi were the main buyers. Islam and the Ashkenazi, those that say that they are Jews and are not, were the main sellers that worked with the indigenous black Africans to trap the regal Negro house of... You see, the Romans, they were globalists. Then and now, they just migrated to Gaul, Ashkenazi, the sellers, and Britain, the British, of course, the buyers. German Jewry and British Jewry, where have they gone to? Well, they've descended upon Wall Street, upon Hollywood and Washington, D.C., as we see it right now, just to fuel this cataclysmic final war of globalism, which is none other than renaming colonialism. To go back before the 16th century to understand the roots of it. So we're going to see as we dig into this where this slavery came from, because it was really a system that was very, very well crafted. There was Islamic masters and there were white Ashkenazi Khazar ship owners. There were the buyers and the sellers. And they're not going to fill you in on all of this, but really you've got a 4-tier system. Number 1.
So now we have already seen in the Bible and DNA evidence that the people who they say are God's people are not. They even know it now. They even said that's the reason for the uprising in Ukraine. The reason why the fight was going on and we got to fight Russia now was because they tried to move out of they know they got to get out of Israel because Israel is about ready to be destroyed. So they want to go back to their true homeland, which is the Ukraine. That's the reason the skirmish came, because Russia said, no, sir, y'all not coming in our back door. Y'all not going to take the Ukraine. And that's the reason. And the Ashkenazi Jews paid all that money, and they get America to go over and start fighting to try to get that land from them people. And Russia held it down. They would not let it happen because they know their real homeland is the Ukraine. It's Russia. That's where they from.
What is it? Against the Prime Minister of Israel. We are for Gaza.
You're for Gaza, the Gaza Strip?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We are against the state of Israel at all.
Are you said you're for Gaza?
Yes, we are against the state of Israel.
You're against the state of Israel?
Yes, we believe, the Jewish belief is against the state of Israel.
Are you for the real return of the real children of Israel?
We believe that all Israel need to be returned to the Palestinians.
Do you know that the black man in America is Israel? That he's Jews? Do you know that?
Yes.
With the Honorable Minister Farrakhan being silenced on Facebook and other platforms because they attempted to silence Minister Farrakhan right now, and they did the exact same thing to you. If the true children of Israel are black people, why is it such a problem to speak the truth?
It became a problem for us because of the propaganda machine.
Notice the scripture.
But it's more of a problem for them. They've taken our birthright.
They don't want us to be them.
They don't want us to be us. You wrap in your head?
Right.
You understand?
Even though we are the true Hebrews.
Exactly. So we can't even tell the truth now. Not on record, not on television shows.
If that's truly our birthright, there's no hate involved.
It's not.
How did this message get so misconstrued?
When we came back to claim it. If you steal my bicycle when we were 6 years old, And you riding around the hood with my bike. Right. And now I'm 12. I understand. I want my bike back. My bike.
And here it says, Juvelun. Again, what is the word Juvelun? Minchati, they will lead my gift. But the word lead, Yovel, is also the Hebrew word Jubilee. You see another hint here. When the Jubilee will happen? Jubilee will happen when you have an awakening in Africa. That's when it's, and where are they going to head to? And said, there will be not a shame. I believe today there is a problem with shame in the African American community. You know why people have shame? They have shame when they don't know their identity.
Wait, hold on, stop right there, Rabbi. I want you to stop right there. And I want you to rewind and say what you just said about not knowing your identity, because there's a big fight going on. You here in America. I don't know if you understand this side of it, but there are many African Americans who are waking up to their identity, who they are, but they're also receiving a pushback from the other side, from the Christian community, about their identification of who they are. So I want you to touch on that again, just in case people didn't hear that, what you just said, and how important that is.
Look, I'm going to say it before. The reason today, I have a lot of friends in the church who are African Americans, even white churches, and they tell me something is wrong. Of course something is wrong, because the church is not your home. It's never intended to be your home. Your home is the house of Israel. Why would you feel wrong? Why would you feel right in a stranger home? This is not your real home. And today we have a calling as Jews to invite Africa. And when Africa comes, believe me, African American will come, because Africa is the root. We heal this relationship with Africa. We need a messianic revival. It's happening. All of the African American, and there is anti-Semitism inside African American. You know why? Because they don't know their identity. They don't know where and where they come from. Sorry, you're not from Africa. You are from Africa, but you have a deeper root, and your root is in the house of Israel.
And in the Bible, it said 400 years it said people would be in bondage in a country that you would be strangers in for 400 years. And this is 401. 1619. That's when slavery started. 1619. So here we are in 2020 and all this going on. I happen to be like, I feel like this is ordained. You know what I mean? I think it's the fulfillment of a prophecy. And everybody's saying, yo, we're at war and we're unprepared. We don't have the ammunition. We don't have the preparation. We don't have the strategy. We don't have the leadership. We don't have the, hey, bruh, God only gonna fight with one of us. God will only fight with one side of this. And if it's, and if he fight with us, and guess what? That's all the we need.
Why would he curse his own people?
Race is no simple equation where one thing equals another. No one hates the children of Israel more than the children of Israel. Who taught the black man to hate himself? Who has corrupted the entire world in the name of gaining power? I'll give you hints. He does not look like anyone in our immediate vicinity.
Well, praise Jesus and FOMO white zombies.
All these lies and delusions wake me up, show me a new dawn. I'll be a new light. I am awakened. I am awakened.
Yes, you are.